So now it's time to do some lathe work here now for the dowel pins, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the pin come in only about maybe 1/4 of an inch into here. I'm using 3/8 inch stock right now. I'm going to turn that down to the 3/48 or whatever that dimension is for these here holes here. I have to get those dimensions. I think I'll probably take it maybe 1/4 inch to maybe 3/8 of an inch past here, and then I want to bury this tight into here so that I can ping that to keep that from moving out, and I can cut that off and do a little bit of milling here to get that nice and flat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some measurements here, across here, and into here, and then we'll do some lathe work. Okay, so it looks like on the outside block here, 350. 350 seems to be snug. I think, let me see, check the other hole here. 350 also there. So what I think I'll do is I'll machine it down to 355 and then very carefully get that into there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get this nice and tight into here. And then this is going to be a sliding fit into here. As this is 350 stuck in here to be a press fit, I want this to be a sliding fit, so I'm going to make this about 348 or so, or whatever it takes to get that to be a sliding fit. It's going to be some careful machining on here, and then maybe some polishing just to get that to fit in there properly. All this is going to be for is for location and to keep this from, we have the one screw in there to keep that from spinning back and forth when I get the one screw in there to give it more support. That's what it's for. Okay, where's the lathe to go? Okay, I'm going to machine this down to about 1 1/8. That should be enough to get me working in there properly. I got a line marked right there. And I'm not going to use any back support here with the tailstock or anything because I want to machine all this down. What I'm going to do is the first part here, which will be on this back on the side here, that part there will be tight in there, and I'd say probably about to there, and then from the rest over to here I'll clean up a little bit there, and then that part will be the part that will go inside to locate in the block itself here. Alright, let's get machine on this thing. Okay, to be a nice loose sliding fit, since it's a drilled hole, it's going to be a little bit oblong because it's a drilled hole, it's not ringed. So I'm going to look at, I think 350 should be, 350 should be enough to give me some clearance in there so that can move back and forth a little bit to find its place in there. So I'll machine this here down from 375 to 350 then. And I'll just machine just to this line, first line here. So what I think I will do is set my gauge here. About there. And let's get going here with this. Plug it in. Alright, let's get a touch off here a little bit. Let's see what we get here. Now this is the part that's going to go inside the main body of that other bracket for a sliding fit. So I'm going to get real quick here, make sure it's okay, we're good there. So that's 375. I only got to do a little bit to go with that. I'll go ahead and take 10 off the full diameter right now. That's 5 thousandths inside cut. A little speed here of this. And then we'll see how that fits inside the bracket block. It's about 365. Should come out too. It should still be a little bit tight yet. Let's get a little bit of alright, like that. Okay, and it should still be a little bit tight yet. Okay, good, it is. Alrighty. Let's give a micrometer check here. Okay, 367. Alright. 367. 357. Let's take number 10 off it, off the full diameter. And away we go. Alright. Okay. We'll go to the bottom hole first, a little bit there. And let's see what we got here now. Okay, 355. 355. 2, 4, 5. Take about 5 off that. 5 thousandths. The full diameter again. About 2.5 on the depth of cut on the dial. I want this to be a loose fit. Get a nice sliding fit, so I'm going to go a little smaller than this too. I just want to see how close we get without being too much of a sloppy fit. I don't want a sloppy fit though either. That's good. I like it right there. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we have this as a sliding fit for this block here. And for this block here, we want this to be a press fit back here. So as we slide this back on here now, we want to, for this block here, we want to take this back to about here and machine that exactly to this hole here, and just a little bit smaller than that there, so that we can possibly be able to press fit that in tight and maybe ping it a little bit to keep it from moving, and then make that nice and tight while this is a slip fit here. Alright, so let's get moving on this. You can see how that's just a little bit wider than the front, which is what we want. And we'll just get a check now and see what we got here on that. See how close we are with that. Okay, good. Okay, about 356. Take about 6 thousandths off of that. Just might go. I'm going to take just a little bit, about a half now off of that. Okay, that's going to press on okay. Alright, good. Alright. Okay, let's go press this in and see what we get. Okay, I have a little parallel here I'm putting on top of here. And we'll go ahead and see if we can press this down in here now. Okay. Before I put these pins in permanently, I want to be able to take these blocks off yet and do one more feature to them. And that is, back on my plans here, I want to do the angle cut here and drill and tap for a 1/4-20 thread into it. It's probably about a 45-degree angle. I'll probably cut that at. That might be the most comfortable angle for it to put a handle. And that's what this is for. This is to put a handle on there now. And once I get the handle on there, then I can assemble these pins in permanently and then do the machine and get them nice and flat and all that kind of stuff. Okay, next thing up now is to cut the angle on this. There's all kinds of ways I can cut this angle. I can use my angle blocks here, 45 degrees set up. I can do that. I also have a tilting vise here, angle vise. So I just might as well go ahead and use that. And let me show you something I did. I built two models. I built a model of this vise and I built a model of that vise. Let me go over and I'll bring them over here and I'll show you. Okay, over here are my models over here. Let me show you here. I got this one right here. That's and this one back here. Show you this one and this one here. Let's come back to my shop here and we'll take a look at them real quick. First model I made. This was the angle vise here. I made a model of it. It's not a real scale model, but it's close. I have made the little indexing numbers here, the angles. Pull out the pin. I used the same kind of locking mechanisms they used, and I had a sliding dovetail. I have a video on how I made the sliding dovetail on my milling machine, and of course I can lock that in position. Same kind of locking position that's on this here vise. Height thing here. I got the angled indexing holes here for certain degrees, and the vise itself opens up back and forth. Then I can lower it back down. Tighten up here a little bit. Yeah, everything was machined. Even this here, everything was machined. The only thing that's commercial fasteners would be down here where there's actual fastening going on. But everything else that shows is all machined. Even that's machined. The bolt down there and a little nut, that's all machined out of aluminum to give it the model look to it. And I'm pretty happy with that, how that came out. That's my tilting vise, and then I made a model of my swivel vise as well. And that's over here, swivel vise. Again, the same kind of setup where I loosen these little bolts here. Again, they're handmade, machined, shop machined bolts. Got a lot of dust on these things. Again, the thing opens up here, and I'm not sure what scale this would be, but it's the same kind of features as the big one here. So yeah, there's the models I made of my vices. So let's go ahead and put this one here to work and doing angle cuts, and we'll get back to our machine or our project now. Maybe sometime I'll do a video on all my projects that I did, my machines and stuff, my steam engines and all my little hydraulic toys and stuff that I built. I should say models. Models that I built and things. Maybe I'll do a video on this sometime. Okay, let's get back to work here on our vice off here, and let's get back to work here now. You gotta change out the color here. A micro mill drill is that when you have the this part here, the quill, like where it's used for drilling, you can have some movement here, up and down on the quill itself. It moves because it's got to slide through the bearing here. So whenever I do any kind of milling, what I do is I make a little thing here that I put in between here to keep the quill from going down. So I put this in here, I lock this in position here like this, I put this in, bring this all the way up, then I tighten the handle here so that can't move. So now everything is tight, this is now tight, and so now the quill is tight to the head, and it's all now like one unit now. There's no movement now. And I do that always for whenever I do any kind of machining. I do that there. When I do drilling, I take that out to do my drilling so I can have the quill up and down. And then when I do my machining, milling, I tighten everything up with this here, and that makes it all a nice one unit. Alright, let's get to work on this. Touch off now. We're in the Z-axis a little at a time, so I touch off. Right there. I'll set my dial gauge here. Come down about 50 thou. Let's try 50 thou first. Yeah, another 50. And so on. Okay, I'll set my depth gauge here now to this height I have it at now. And I can put the earpiece in here now. And do the same thing. They'll both register in the same spot. So we're good to go. A stride mark here that I'm going to work off of. Get lined up on center there. That's it right there. Looks good. I'll lock the table there. Double check, make sure it's in line. That looks good. Alright. All center drill just to double check to make sure I'm on line there before I do the final drilling. And I'm going to be drilling and tapping the 1/4 thread. One more double check here. Okay. That looks good. I'll drill all the way through, tap all the way through. It makes it a lot easier than to have to drill a blind hole and tap a blind hole. I have my belt loose on there so that I get belt slip to prevent the motor from stalling. I like it that way. Put more countersink now before I do the threading. Okay. Finally tapping for the 1/4. Okay, let's try the 1/4 screw. Because that's what's going to hold the handle on, is a 1/4 thread going through. Alright, do the next one, and then this part will be done for this evening's machining session, and then the next installment will be probably doing the guard bars themselves. We'll have to see here. Take it out of the vise on the table and do it in my regular vise here. Okay, this is the second one. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get this assembled to this point here now, see what we got. Let's look at the progress so far in assembling everything. So what we have built here, and let's just put everything together here temporary. So let's the tall one is to the right, reference, and then we have the reference here, reference there to there, that fits there, that fits there. Okay, we got the our screws here that will go into the center here. Before we do that, we'll just go ahead and mimic this right here. We don't have these pressed in yet. We don't have these glued in, I should say. But we'll just put these here dowels in here. It's a little bit of stuff there from the threading. Alright, then we'll put that in here like this. And eventually, like I say, eventually this will be glued in here and probably pinned in here. This will be then machined off flat. And then we'll put a screw in like this. I may even put a lock washer on possibly. Right now, we'll just use it this way for right now, just for the purpose of a temporary assembly. Ah, no, you got to I have to put the bracket on the thing first before I do this here part. This is why we made this way, so that we can put the bracket on and take it off as need be. Alright, let's do this part first. Alright. Like I said, we're doing a complete dry assembly right now. Some of the other scrap out of there. Complete dry assembly. If I keep it in the focus here. Alright. Alright, so you put this here in here first. And of course we'll probably put a lock washers in there too. And some Loctite, if I can get a lock washer in there. If not, then I'll definitely put Loctite in here. Thread locker to keep the screws from loosening up during vibration of the tool being used. And definitely going to need some thread locker. Alright, so that's nice and tight. Now we put our cap on. But before we do that, let's just go ahead. There's the X. Here's the X for this one right here. I might just go ahead and put this in here too while we're at it. If that goes in there, it means it goes in this one here. Nope, it goes in here. There we go. I'll put these screws in also. Excuse me. Alright, let's get this here screws in. And these are the keeper screws that will be used to keep this bushing in place from spinning. And this bushing serves as a bushing for the guide bar. That will eventually be the next part of our project here coming up. Okay, so now we have our keeper screws in here. Okay. Stone frame, yep. Alright, now we put this on. Now I put this on and we put our screw in here. And this is the dry assembly for the first part of this. I'll do the other side off camera and then we'll take a look at it. Okay. And then a 1/4 bolt. Just to throw this in here for completion. And I'll do the other side off camera and then we'll look at it. Here's all the pieces to date right now. We have everything fully temporary assembled to where we want it at right now. This is all the pieces that's been machined, all the pieces that's been assembled, and this is what we got so far. Alright, so now what I also like is that there's no rocking. Okay, so that's solid. I like. What I also like is that this here fits nice through here. That went really well. And the next part now would be to start working on the guide bars. locking system here for depth locking, for the depth of it, as well as probably on this side here for depth guide, as you see on these routers, plunge routers. Of course, got to build the handles for it, the base, and things like that. But that's what we got so far to date, and that's it for right now, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.